Alright guys, so this is the second part to the video. In the last video we talked about the Pythagorean theorem as a brief introduction to it. And I showed you guys how to find the hypotenuse when you have two legs. This one is the example of when you are finding a leg. So let's look at it. Here you see I still have my steps here. Identifying the variable, write the formula, substitute the values for the variables, and then we're going to simplify and solve. Okay, now here, my variables. Remember, we have our right angle, and that right angle, that's an ugly arrow that I drew. That's gonna work. Remember, I told you guys in the last video that points to C, which is our hypotenuse. Okay, so if I put a C over here, now we have a number over here. Now, in the previous examples, and I actually have it up here, there was no number there for C. But when you look at this one, there's a numerical value there for C. Therefore, I have a C. I have a number for the hypotenuse. So when we come here, step one, identifying our variables. Step one, A, we can call it 4. In this particular case, B, we don't know. And C would be 10. Okay? So now we're going to go to our next part, which is writing the formula. And the formula is still the same. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. Okay? And I think I'm going to move these up some. Okay? So, this is step 2. Step 3. Substitute those values for variables. You end up with 4. And I'm going to use an arrow here so it doesn't look like 42. 4 squared plus B squared equals, and that's 10 squared. Squared. Okay? Now we're on step 4, which is a simplify and solve. That becomes 4 squared is 16. 16 plus B squared equals 100. Now, here we need to rely on what we did when we solved variables, solved equations with variables on both sides. This is a little bit different than solving for both legs, but you guys should be fine with this because we've done this type of math. Now, right here, we have this 16 right here, guys. Y'all see that? How are we going to get rid of that? Well, the only way to get rid of it is to take 16 away from both sides. And like I said, we literally just did this when we was working on parallel lines cut by a transversal. Our equal sign, move the equal sign over, minus 16. Okay? Uh-oh, didn't mean to do that. Draw my line. Oh, I almost had a straight line that time, y'all. I messed up at the end. Don't judge me. Not too harsh. Not too harshly. Okay? Again, this gives you a 0 pair, meaning that's going to cross out. B squared is going to drop down, and then you have 100 minus 16, which is 84. You end up with B squared equals 84. And now you're at the last step where you're going to take the square root of both sides, because just like with the C, I told you guys, hey, you cannot leave that like that. You have to take the square root of both sides. And we're going to go to our Desmos calculator, and we want to do the square root of 84 here. And that looks like 9.165. Remember, you have to, we're going to round up. I want you guys to round into the nearest hundredth place. That 6 is going to tell that 5 you need to go up to a 7. So the answer would be B is 9.17. And there's our answer. All right. We'll work one more example. And then we'll be done. Let's see. Let's bring this down. Gonna drop that down. Let's bring this guy up. Okay. All right. So I think I'll bring this down just a little bit more here and here. All right, here we go. So identify the variables. Once again, on this example, we have a C. So identifying the variables, step 1, A is 12. Or we can call, or we can say we don't know what A is. Doesn't matter. Can't find my question mark. B is 12, and C is 13. All right. So there are my variables. Let's go to step 2. Step 2. And I think I'll write this next to it because I'm running out of space on the bottom. Step 2. Write the formula. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. Okay. 3 is we're going to substitute the values. A squared plus 12. Uh-oh, not 112. That used to be a glue back in the day, y'all. Ash parents. Equals our 13 squared. Substitute the values for the variables. Step 4. Oh, I've already done it. I'm tripping. I think now I'm at the solve. Yeah, I'm at simplify and solve. All right, so that'll still be A squared plus 144 is 12 squared equals 13 squared is 169. Okay. I need to subtract 144 from both sides. Okay. My 0 pair is there. And we're left with A squared. A squared equals 25. And again, I'm not going to the calculator for these because I already know these in my head. We now want to take the square root of both sides. Square root of A squared, the square root of 25. And remember, when you're taking the square root, that's the opposite or the inverse of squaring a number. And that's the reason why this variable is left by itself. I don't know why I wrote AN instead of typing it in. Don't judge me. And we're left with A equals 5. All right, so there's our lesson over the basics of Pythagorean theorem. The thing that's essential for today, you all need to make sure that we're comfortable solving these problems. Again, today we need to make sure that we're comfortable looking at this and solving it. That is our objective. It's simply to solve this. And then when we come back on our next lesson, we'll look at some verbal representation of what this looks like. We'll have pictorial representation, and we'll get into a little bit more of star-like questions on this. And I may have a little mini quiz for you guys I'm gonna call it a pop quiz. It's not a pop quiz because I'm telling you about it right now. But hey, listen, that's all I got for this lesson, man. Y'all already know what we're gonna do. Meet me over in the kick, and we're gonna work this out. All right. Catch you guys later. Peace.